All right. Well, at 6
I have
o'clock.
a question. Is the exam based on the new study material? If yes, will it be possible to get the physical copy of the new book?
It wouldn't be anything off of the new book. It would just be, it's a lot of the basics. It's basically the same final exam for every 1.0 course. So it's really the basics of coaching, not as so much of like specific wellness exercises. So the new book, yes, you're supposed to have it very soon. 2 weeks ago, I talked to John, and he said it was done. So I would expect that you guys would have it. That's something I need to find out about when you'll have it. But it should be based off of just the normal, like standard, like the foundation of coaching, not specific wellness tools.
Okay, thank you.
And if you look at the study guide or flashcards and anyone has a question, please let me know. And let me know if you guys want to do a study call or a kind of business brainstorming call, and we'll get that on the books. But let's get started with class. I'm not sure where Robin is, but here we are, class 22, Powerful Relationships. Yay! This is one of my favorite classes. It's so powerful. No pun intended. But let's check in. So, JC, I want to check in with you first. Clap your hands.
Hey.
Did it work? Is it sticking?
I think I clapped my hands so many times. I bruised myself.
Oh, no.
Yeah, work's picking up with the holidays, and apparently it's sinking in that I'm leaving. We are now hiring, even though I gave my notice 2 months ago. So yeah, when I'm not exhausted, clapping works great. When I'm exhausted, I just need to go to bed. I just need to admit defeat and say, try again tomorrow. I've reached my limit.
It sounds like you found a balance. Or trying to find a balance.
I don't know if I've found one or I've been pushed to find one, but yes, my list keeps growing at work, and I just said, there are only 24 hours in a day, and I'm not spending all of them here.
Good for you for drawing a line. Yeah. So were you able to exercise and use that 20 minutes like you wanted to?
Yeah, actually, I've done really well, and I'm so proud. Can everybody see my bruises? I learned how to do downward blocks in karate. Whoa! I'm very excited.
Is that when you break blocks with your arms, or?
Oh Lord, no, I'm not that fancy. The only thing I learned to do was to block a kick if it was coming in towards my knee. but I was very proud of myself.
All right. Well, at least you're not bruising on your hands, are you? Like you're not bruising on your hands?
No, my hands are good. No, this is just shin bone on ulna, I think.
Wow.
I made everybody look at it at work. I was like, look, guys.
That'll do. Cool. Anything else you want to check in on today, JC?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right, everyone else, how did reminders go? And if you didn't do reminders, if you want to share anything from your week, but would love to hear about your reminder. Uh-oh, Robin?
Oh, sorry. What was the reminder? Wait, I missed it.
We did reminders last week, like where you set reminders. We did future pacing and reminders.
I didn't do it, but I had a good week.
Yay!
Sorry. I did have a good week.
Cool. Any coaching wins that you want to share from this week?
Any coaching wins? No, not really. No, I'm good. I can't think of anything right now. I just ran in here and I'm just trying to get everything set up. I'm sorry.
No worries. If you think of something, feel free to jump in.
Okay.
All right, Miss Sarah.
So my reminder was padding my future six-pack. But that was, I was going to start a Mediterranean diet. I was thinking like a heart-healthy kind of Mediterranean diet. And so and patting my little six pack was a reminder of that. So I did it last Saturday. I actually I did my plan, JC.
Now Casey's clapping for you.
Hey, I know she helped me. I put on my little Greek music and I Pinterested a bunch of Mediterranean diet things. There's all kinds of stuff like helpful pyramids and recipes and tons of stuff. And so it's kind of loose. I still have to figure out portion sizes, but other than that, I'm eating all the right foods, within it, and noticing that I have more energy, at the end, the second half of my spin class when I'm usually dead, I just keep going, and I'm I thought there was another song. Wait a minute, and so, and it's been like that at the end of the day too, when I'm with clients. I'm usually pretty tired, but since I started it, I've had more energy, and I just feel bright and awake. I think it's potatoes. Eating more wholesome carbs and potatoes is good for you. If you need the energy to keep going. So it's been good. So I'm still patting. I don't know if it's a six pack right now, but it'll be there someday. It's under there.
That's awesome, Sarah. Way to go. It's so cool. I'm a big believer that not one diet fits all, oh, you should do this. And it's so cool. I had a friend that was oh, I feel like this certain way of eating would be really good for me. I'm going to, for my body. I was that's such a cool statement. What diet is good for your body and your life versus this is what you need to do. I don't know. It's just interesting.
It's so true. Everybody is different. Literally, everybody is different. And so we all need different things. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Thanks for sharing, Sarah. I'm excited for you. It's so cool to see when someone makes a change and you're I like this. This is working. It's encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. What about you, Mike?
A good week so far. I didn't do anything specific with reminders. Kellen and I talked about that last week, but we were talking about taking time in the afternoons at work to read and to write. Got this book idea in mind, and so I did order a book about writing this kind of book, and so I just need to read the book about writing books. But it's good. I have it. We're taking steps. So.
That's cool. What book is it, Mike?
It's a book about how to write a self-help book. I'm thinking about writing a book as a marketing piece of marketing collateral for the coaching business. Just something short, that I can hand out almost like a brochure on crack, so for lack of a better word. And so I'm going to read through that and then decide how to put that together. So that was kind of like a reminder, and it was good.
Very cool. I'm excited for you. I know I've seen a lot of coaches that use CreateSpace to publish.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And a lot of
CRAATE?
Yeah, CreateSpace. And I believe you can self-publish directly to Amazon. Another
Cool.
thing, I've seen a lot of people that do the first chapter free as a PDF. I've seen that a lot too.
Oh, okay, good idea.
Not a teaser or and then have the book be if you were selling it, I'd be the first
Right.
free.
Yeah, I was thinking I would probably just give it away as a advertising / marketing tool, but that's a good idea too. I definitely haven't settled on the idea for, perfectly yet, so that's helpful.
Yeah, I've seen people too that it's free. They can download it for free, but then they subscribe to your email list, and that's why people can get some traction.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So even if it's a little taste test of the book. Cool.
Exactly.
Let us know how that goes.
Good ideas. Thank you. Yeah, I will for sure.
Very cool. All right, Eddie, what about you? Did you have a reminder from last week?
I'm sorry. Say it again?
Did you have a reminder from last week?
Yeah, it's a great week, busy week. and I'm in my high season right now. I try very hard to not be overcommitment, but I'm working like a crazy now. Working like a crazy.
What are you learning about yourself as you're crazy busy?
Oh my gosh, I learn a lot of things. You know, one of those things is this is my last season that I'm gonna work like that way. You know, I just don't have time for anything, just for sleep and eat.
How does it feel to be like to know this is your last, December?
Yeah, because I work very hard this year, you know, and I'm pretty good in financial, and that's mean next year I don't need to work as I work right now, you know.
That must feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Like all your hard work's paying off, and it gives you some space.
Yeah, it is. I gotta take more time for myself, more time to invest and in life coach, you know. I really like that.
That's cool. Hey,
Yeah.
Eddie, I'll be there. We'll be there soon.
You gotta, I'll be there. This is funny because when I did, let me tell you something about the I'll be there. When I did my first time, when I did a life code course back in 3 years ago, when I started doing that, my communication skill was so bad. It's not good now. I know it's not good now. But I learned English after 40, you know, and for you learn new language after 40 is challenge. But I remember 3 years ago.
Uh-oh, Eddie, you froze up. It was so good. His video was perfect. we lost
the guy.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Are we back?
Yep. You might need to turn off your video. It froze. You said 2 years ago, and then it froze.
3 years ago when I started doing that, my first class, you know, I could not understand 100% because, you know, my communication skill is was not good like today. I still don't have good communication. I know that. You know, I'm improve every year. Every year I'm doing better in my communication. But the point is, in my first class 3 years ago when I started doing this, I could not understand the meaning, the purpose for the course. You know, it is a life code course, but it is different than we do here. Totally different. And I told the guy, one day I'm gonna be there. One day I'm gonna understand better.
And look at you, you're
I keep this in mind. I'll be there.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Eddie. I think it's such a.
I learn about the be persistent. Do you know the word? Persistent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that means sometimes you cannot achieve in short time. Sometimes take more time for different people, you know. But if you keep in focus, you're gonna be there. Everybody gonna be there.
Very cool. Thank you, Eddie. All right, Kellen, what about you?
Hi. I wanted to mention to Eddie. I just looked at this website for learning a new language. It's called Babbel. It's spelled Babbel. And I was looking at it because I've always had an interest in studying Italian. And this website is phenomenal for language learning. I mean, the layout and the exercises and everything is just so well put together to facilitate easy language acquisition. It's so great. So, Eddie, if you get a chance to look at that site, you would love it, I think.
Thanks for sharing, Kellen. Yeah.
All right, thank you. But when you start doing that, just keep in mind is if you do not practice You know, is sometimes we have a good information in Google for how you learning, you know, speak better, you know. But the practice is different, you know. When you go to the Europe and you start speaking in Italian, you will understand me.
Hey Eddie, we're gonna go back to coaching, but thank you for sharing that, and feel free. I think it would be great if you and Kellen connected if you want to share ideas. But let's get back to coaching. So we have Kanika and Kellen. Let's check in with you guys on your reminders, and let's dive into powerful relationships because we have lots to cover tonight. So thank you for that, Kellen. Did you work on anything this week?
I would say that I was trying to utilize those two ideas of reminder and future pacing. I was sort of doing like instead of future pacing, a present pacing. So I was trying to pace, in the present moment a little better than I had been. Maybe I'd been going a little too fast over the holiday, and so I decided to slow down, pace myself, and then just using sort of a mental reminder to check in with myself, how am I feeling? Am I doing what I should be doing, et cetera, et cetera. So that was a nice experience for me.
Very cool. Yeah, it's so cool to take tools and then make them our own or make them work for us. Because I think it's not necessarily, I have to use this exactly this way. It might springboard into a different way of using it, and that's really cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Kellen. Kanika, what about you?
Hi, I'll make it quick. I set a reminder to start exercising finally because I start, stop. So I did my YouTube. I switched on this Zumba video and I was dancing, and you should have seen my baby. She was dancing me all throughout.
Oh,
so that was motivating in a way. The second development professionally was my company. They are looking for improving their L&D, learning and development, because that's a big challenge in a startup moving to a big organization. So they're actually open to employees giving workshops. And the L&D head knows that I'm doing wellness coaching. So she's actually invited me to give like a few workshops on wellness coaching. So yeah, that should be fun, giving it in your company, Safe Zone. So I'm gonna use that.
That's very cool. I've seen a lot of coaches that do future self and vision exercises are really good with big groups.
Okay.
So, it's easy for them to like sit and imagine their future, kind of guiding, like if you were doing a big group exercise. There is like workshops already on the materials page for the Do Your Life's Work.
Okay.
So that can be, you might be able to springboard and use some of that too.
I'll do that. Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Well, powerful relationships. So this is taking, if you guys remember the assumptions and limiting beliefs chapter, do you remember the assumptions chart? How you have the assumption, and then that leads into the perspective, which then leads into the action, and which then leads into the outcome or the results. So it's sort of similar, except now you're looking at someone else's assumption, or your assumption about someone else's assumption. And so it's kind of this how what we choose and how we act in a relationship is based on our assumptions. And what I think is so cool about this, that usually there's someone in the class that realizes this is, no matter what I do, they're still going to react the same way, no matter if I change my assumption or not. And it's so cool to have that realization, because I can't change them. Because so many times people come to a coaching session, they want to talk about a relationship and they want to fix it. They want to change the person. And this exercise is going back to, well, what can you control? What about you? And it's putting that power back in their choice. And that's why I feel like it's so powerful. It's reminding them that they have a choice. And helping you be aware of the assumptions you're making about others. Because sometimes we don't really, acknowledge I'm making an assumption about how they're going to act, or having a limiting belief. So for example, someone failed you or let you down once. So you believe, therefore, that they're always going to let you down. And then you've assumed that you can't trust them. They're not trustworthy. And then you don't trust them with things. And they assume that you don't you don't care. and it can springboard in so many different things. So it can be the same thing with a limiting belief where there is some fact to it, but usually we assume something about our limiting belief. So there's not a set, like 2 different ones, because usually there's an assumption in there, just about if you have that limiting belief, what is your assumption about it? Or what does that mean for your relationship with that person? But it's so powerful because it also taps into empathy. You're also inviting your client to imagine, well, what do you think they're assuming based on how you're acting? And that, I think, is really powerful because they're themselves being put in someone else's shoes again. So they're putting on, their mother-in-laws, their husbands, or their friend, or their coworker, their boss. They're putting on their shoes and be like, how would I respond? What would I think about this? And we'll get more into empathy, but really that will come out in this. And then I just think the most powerful thing is they realize I have a choice. I can't change them. I can only change me. And it's so powerful to even see that even if you change your assumption, I think they'll react in the same way. And then you can empower them with whatever choice they have next. Do they need to set boundaries with that person? Do they need to pull away? Do they need to go to counseling? I mean, it just really focuses on, okay, what's next? What can you do? Versus, let's just have a session about you complaining about so-and-so, right? Because that's usually what happens if you don't have some sort of structure in a coaching session. Robin, I see you nodding your head. Do you have some experience with this?
No, I can just see how an entire session can be wrapped up in this unless you can put it into some type of perspective for the client, unless you can put it into some type of exercise for them, because it's absolutely right. If the client is thinking about one person a certain way, push it back on them. What do you think that person is thinking of you?
Mm-hmm.
Too. I mean, right? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah. What do you think they're assuming based on your
exactly?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really tapping into empathy. But if we don't have that structure, it can just be a complaint fest, and then it's not going to be helpful for the client. But this will come up a lot. If you notice a relationship issue, just any type of relationship issue that's popping up a lot in coaching, that's when that's step 2 of getting this exercise. You could really use it anywhere in any session, but explore. Would you like to explore more of what's not working in that relationship?
Mm-hmm. And
then really focusing on their assumptions about the other person. And I like how there's the 2 separate boxes. So you do the original, usually a negative assumption or negative assumptions, and then you change it to the positive. So then you go to, all right, if you had to totally flip your assumption, assume the most positive thing ever about this person, what would you like to assume? So inviting them to choose a positive assumption. And I just think it's so cool to see the connections. I've seen so many light bulbs go off. I've even experienced it myself. I do have a choice, and I can't control them or how they react. And I'm doing all I can. Because, I don't know, my people-pleasing peacemaker route, sometimes I have that thought of, can I do more, right? Can I do something else? And I feel like this is so freeing because you're okay, I'm doing this and this and this, and they're still responding this way. And now I have a choice on boundaries or cut off the relationship or pull back, and it's really freeing. So adding the structure really helps not the session to get away from you. So if you see a kind of a recurring, the relationship pops up, there's something not working. Also, if you were to do the full exercise, I like to ask the question, what are you in control of? What choices do you have in this situation when they're talking about a person? And really focusing on them, sometimes I've had to say, I don't need to know about what they did. How is that situation affecting you? What are you noticing about yourself when someone talks down to you or they don't give you the time of day? What have you done to work on that relationship? And so it even can be little bits of conversation throughout without even doing the whole exercise. But doing the whole exercise is really helpful. So, any questions or thoughts on powerful relationships? All right. Well, one other thought I want to throw out there is this is like the last page of the chapter, but talking about leadership. And I think that's really owning it, like owning your actions and knowing yourself and being able to like work on things yourself. And, you know, a lot of times that leads to personal growth and us changing, which then affects others around us. Or, you know, like we can build relationships more intentionally with others when we put ourselves in their shoes. And then we can really grow with them, especially if you're on a team, like working with a team of people. Like if you are working hard to understand them and be intentional about how your actions affect them, that's really powerful. So that's just another thought, and we'll get more into leadership next week. All right. So did anyone have any questions? All right. Does anyone have a relationship that we can go through the chart with and model this for the class? It could be anything. It could be a coworker, boss, spouse, friend. Where are you guys at tonight?
I think I can go ahead and do it.
Cool. Thanks, Rob. But everyone else's relationships are going perfectly in this.
Must be. Must be.
All right. So what relationship came to mind for you, Robin?
There was somebody that I worked with. I don't work with them anymore. They are one of those just really happy people, but and I think I don't know if Mike remembers or not, my complaining about her when she lies. Oh my God, she lies about everything. It was absolutely incredible. She and she doesn't just lie to me. She will tell each person in the office a different story involving something.
Oh, I remember that.
Not thinking that we all talk to each other. So there's my person.
Okay. So we're going to spend the next 15 minutes talking about this relationship. What would you like to get out of the conversation?
Since I don't work with her anymore, I just need some, is closure the right word in trying to have a relationship with this person? I still stop by the office, probably once a week and just say hi to everybody. And, I still get a couple pieces of mail get dropped off there. So I do see her.
Okay. But you're looking for closure.
Well, yeah. Something that just lets me say it's just okay. She doesn't have to like me and I don't have to like her, but I'm just not there yet.
Okay. How could we tangibly measure closure? What would that be?
Wow. How can we tangibly measure closure? When it doesn't bother me to speak about it. No, that's not it. That's not a clear.
How much is it bothering you right now on a scale from 1 to 10?
Now that I've talked about it on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably at a 9.
Okay. Where would you like it to be by the time we end our conversation?
I'd like it not to matter. Is that too much?
So it would be a 0 out of 10?
I would just like it not to matter.
Okay. Well, do you want to try?
We can try. Okay.
So we're looking at, you want to feel closure, and that would be it going from a 9 out of 10 bothering you to nothing. It doesn't matter.
Because when I stop by the office just that, once a week or something to pick up mail or anything, and it bothers me just getting off the elevator knowing that I'm probably going to run into her.
Robin, I'm wondering if you want to take a minute to vent before we do this exercise. Would that be helpful?
No, I'm fine. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Deep breath. Okay. All right. So what we're going to start with, do you have the chart in front of you, or do you want to make a chart?
I do. I have the chart.
Okay. So the first box, so that should be your assumption. So the top left. So I want you to write down all the assumptions. So it sounds like, just to clarify, sounds like there are some limiting beliefs, like around, because you have you have the facts, like you have truth around, like, and proof that she's lied.
Right.
So off of like what you know, and maybe like what are the assumptions based on that?
That she's untrustworthy? Is that what you're looking for?
What do you think? Is that an assumption? If you assume that she's
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I assume that I cannot tell her anything.
Okay. What else? Go ahead and write these down.
That I really can't believe anything she says. Not believable.
Okay. You mentioned that getting off the elevator, you're like, you don't even want to see her. What is the assumption behind that?
She is one of these people that is like happy all the time and presents as if there are absolutely no issues whatsoever involving anything, that everything is just absolutely perfect. When I probably have not spoken to her unless I needed to. I do not engage her at all. I did not, I know I sound really mean, don't I? I didn't engage her. I didn't have a conversation with her or anything. I just didn't, but she hasn't acknowledged that. Wow.
Wow, what's wow?
Wow is I never realized that it was just the fact that she never acknowledged that I thought I was being such a horrible person sitting next to her and not speaking to her.
What about that bothers you?
Probably that I worked so hard at not talking to her, and then she never really acknowledged it. If I have to be quite honest about it. And she still hasn't. And the fact is she never will, because she is just that happy, cheerful person.
What would you call that, like, that type of person? You're assuming she is a what?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Give me a choice of words. Nothing's coming to me.
I'm not looking for anything. And
okay.
The phrase I thought of was like someone who brushes everything under the rug and pretends it's not there. But does anything like that come to mind for you? Like the kind of person that's like, I'm happy all the time, nothing's wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, she has problems. She talks about, a few little problems along the way, but again, I don't know if it's serious or if it's real or not. She just doesn't acknowledge any conflict whatsoever with anyone.
Okay. So maybe write down, like, she's never going to acknowledge anything or never acknowledge conflict. Like, assuming that she's, I think you mentioned, like, she's always going to be that way. She's always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other assumptions about her?
She puts on this front that she has this perfect life when I don't believe she does. I think there's a lot of underlying not dissatisfaction, but underlying
issues?
Well, where she's not happy about a lot of things, but she puts on the front. What is that? Why can't I think of that?
I'm faking it?
Yeah, she's faking it. Yes.
Okay, so you're assuming she's faking it. So I'd write that.
I am. She's a fake. No. I'm sorry.
So I can't help but ask Robin. So you mentioned like you've been trying really hard to be mean.
Well, not mean. I don't engage. I did not have a conversation with her. If I go in the office now and she's there, I just say hi and keep walking on and she wants to engage and have a conversation. You know, how you doing? You know, is life going good? And, you know, and I just don't.
Okay. So,
because it's just not genuine.
okay. So under your actions, so the bottom left, go ahead and write, you know, you put the, I don't know, put your hand up, like talk to the hand. Or use don't engage.
Yeah. Ignore, don't engage.
Okay. All right. Now I really want you to put yourself in his shoes or her shoes, and just imagine what you think she's thinking when you do that.
I honestly don't think she takes it in a negative way.
Like, just imagine you're her and you see you ignore her. Like, what does she assume about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine what she assumes about me. I mean, you know, the B word comes to mind.
Let's just say, for the sake of keeping class PG, that she thinks you're a mean girl.
There we go. I'm a mean girl. I am a mean girl.
Okay. Is there anything other assumptions you think that she has when you act that way?
Yeah, no. No.
Okay.
Do you think? I mean, would you, at this point as a coach, would you throw out any words? Would you throw out any, I don't know what phrase you would put it in. No?
Well, I want to make a suggestion because I'm not in part of this relationship, right?
Right.
Between you and the person. But I did have an intuition, and I'm
okay.
I want to share it without being leading. I'll just throw it out there. I'm wondering, like, if she enjoys ticking you off. And that's what I'm wondering. What do you think about that? So I guess that's how I present it. Like, my intuition is saying that maybe, but I mean, I'd be careful to make assumptions about anyone else's life or relationships.
Right.
I was wondering, and I'm just letting you think about it, but I'm not.
Okay. To answer that, I'm not. It would surprise me if she would. I was a little above her on the learning curve there. I don't know if her personality would do that.
That's interesting. I think I guess what I would like a word that might come up. This might come up like almost like you're almost saying that she's not vindictive. Like she's not
vindictive. She's not. She is one of those constantly happy, doesn't find any real fault, never expressed a fault with anyone. And other people just ignored her lying they would laugh about it behind her back. It was awful. And, you know, there would be, what did they call her? Now I'm trying to think of what they called her. I'll have to remember it. It was kind of funny, but I mean, it wasn't me. There was like 8 or 9 other people so I just don't think she would have that feeling.
Okay. Like I'm going to do this to be mean. So
you're going to do this to be mean to me?
Like she's not like trying to tick you off. All right. So you said she was assuming that you're a mean girl. Right? And then how does like she act based on that assumption? Like how do you see her reacting like when you don't talk to her and she may be thinking, oh, Robin's so mean? What happens?
I don't know. I mean, she would ask a general question, what are you doing this weekend? And I would be like, oh, we don't really have any plans. And I'd just go back to typing and not engage. Because we sat right next to each other, which made it really awful.
So what happens after that? What happens when you just give her a short answer and then disengage? What does she do?
Nothing. She usually just goes on about her business until like an hour or two later when she's bored, and she asks another question, and I do the same thing.
Okay. So she retreats.
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
She does.
Okay. Any other actions? Any other actions that you find come out of that?
No.
Okay. All right. So I want you to take a look at the chart and look at your assumption and look at the connection between, after all of that, she just retreats.
Mm-hmm.
What do you notice between the connection between your assumptions and her actions?
Well, it does, I guess, initially solve the problem when she retreats, she's not talking to me, she's not engaging me, she's not telling me a story. That is probably not true. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. So usually the action backs up the assumption, right? So whatever that their action they take, it usually makes you assume the same things. Is that true?
I don't know. Say that again.
Usually their action backs up your assumption. So for example,
her retreat backs up my action, which is not telling her anything, not talking to her.
Right. Or your assumptions like, oh, she's not trustworthy. She's not. It sounds like you're also assuming she's not worth my time. Right? Or not worth my energy.
Right. Yes. In the end, yeah, it was down to that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to grow my bangs out. It's not working. Okay. They're going to be cut off by tomorrow. I'm telling you, they're going to be like an inch long. That's it. Yes. She's not worth my time.
Okay. And then therefore you don't give her time. Okay. All right. Well, let's look at this in a different light now. Okay. So we're going to set aside the old chart and get on with the new. So I want you to totally flip your assumption and work, be really intentional about assuming the most positive thing you can about this person and about her actions.
Well, she's always a very happy and jovial person. She always says hello to everybody that walks by. She's always happy to spend time with anybody.
Okay.
So she's, I don't know, how do you put that into? She's a happy, positive person.
Mm-hmm. So let's look also at your original assumptions. How could you flip those? Like, how could you maybe assume, could you assume that she's worth your time? Could you assume that, like, a flip of any of your negative assumptions?
I think she genuinely is happy to see people. I think she's genuinely trying to be part of the team. She's genuinely trying to be.
Yeah, that sounds like a flip because one of the words was she was faking it. She was a fake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what if you wrote down she's genuine, she's genuinely trying, whatever, like those words that you just said. You also said, she's happy, she's
genuinely happy and engaging. She is.
Okay. What is it like for you right now to have to think of something positive about her? Have you kind of shrunk down and you're like rubbing your lip?
No. I don't think she's a terrible person. I just don't understand why she feels compelled to lie. Okay, so why does she feel so little about her life that she feels like she has to lie about it?
If you were her, what would come to mind?
I don't know. I can't imagine.
Well, let's go back to the exercise here.
Okay,
I
sorry.
encourage you to be thinking about that. So if you assume that she's genuine, she was engaging, she was genuinely trying, if you just focused on that positive assumption and not the negative ones, totally set those aside in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
If you were just assuming, okay, this person's genuine, they care, they're engaging, what actions would you take out of that assumption?
Out of that assumption, I mean, I would, I may talk with her more. I may try to have, no, I wouldn't. I would talk to her more. I would say I would be more social as far as, greetings and general stuff.
So you wouldn't just say a couple words and then shut down. You would engage a little bit more than that.
Yeah, probably. Yes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and write that down.
Okay.
All right. I'm really curious, Robin. What would happen if you sat her down and told her how what she's doing came across? What do you think would happen?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want her to, I don't know. It was, yeah, I have no idea where that's going. I mean, there's been a couple of things that I've hinted that, I thought you told so-and-so this, so why are you saying you didn't do that? Kind of thing. And she just kind of looked at me and goes, oh, well, that's just the way it was, kind of thing. I don't know if she even realizes she does it. I don't know.
Okay. All right, let's get back to your original action.
Okay.
You're saying that you might engage a little bit more. So if you were a little bit more friendly, you engage with her more social. What do you think she would assume about that and assume about you?
Well, that I wasn't the mean girl, as much of the mean girl. And that's fine, but that doesn't speak to the actual, it's a value of mine to be honest, okay, I understand the exercise isn't to get me to agree to what a wonderful person she is. It speaks to the value, it speaks to my value that I'm not certain. I want to engage her. Have I made this so much harder for you than it should have been?
No, I'm not carrying any burden of this.
Okay.
I'm curious, Robin, could you name that value? You mentioned honest.
Integrity.
Integrity. So what is the process of integrity that you value the most?
The trust and the honesty that is involved with integrity, that what you say you believe and your actions follow that.
So you're walking the walk and talking the talk, like it's all in line.
Exactly.
Okay. So integrity, like what the kind of the process you're talking about is, it's not just like, oh, you have integrity. It's like internal. It's how you act.
Right. Yes. Yes. It is an outward thing. Yes.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like you had a little light bulb moment where you're like, oh, this isn't about accepting her. So I'm curious right now, where is your level of caring about this relationship?
There we go. We got back to it, didn't we? Yeah, I don't care about it. I don't, because she doesn't, and it really shouldn't even bother me.
What made you realize that it shouldn't bother you?
Because I can't change her, even if she's a happy person and I can be a happy person and we can play this game. It's still not changing who she is. I still will not. Yeah, it's still not changing who she is and what she'll do.
Mm-hmm. So if you visit your old work and you see her, how will you kind of bring back that moment that you had of, I can let go. I can't change her. Like, how will you remind yourself of that moment?
Well, I can just say hi. Hey, hope things are going well, and move on.
Mm-hmm. All right, so where are you on that scale? Because you said it doesn't matter, that you wanted to be a 0 out of 10.
I'm pretty much at a 0. You're absolutely right. You got it there.
Very cool.
Yeah, I just really, it just doesn't really even matter.
How does that feel to like have let it go?
I really truly think I have, because I was dreading. I have to stop by there tomorrow, and I know she'll be there on a Friday. So I really was dreading. I was thinking, okay, I could go in the other way, but no, it just doesn't matter. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right.
I'm absolutely right. Yeah. You got it. So no, it just really doesn't matter. I can't change, even if I accept her positives, the negatives outweigh the positive in this particular relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So
where do you go from here? Like, how will this moment that you've had of letting go of that relationship with someone that that you can't control their choices or how they act, how will it affect you moving forward?
Well, I guess I could moving forward with other relationships.
Yeah, or in other areas of life, just anything.
Just better understanding that everybody's different. Everybody has a different, and I don't have to be friends with everybody. And I already kind of had that mindset, but she just really piqued my my moments.
How has our conversation affect who you need to be?
No, it has. It has made me reflect a little bit about what's important to me might not be as important to others, and I should just probably accept that in others a little bit more.
So you would be more accepting.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, is there anything else in your life that you could apply this learning to?
Oh, probably lots of aspects. Any social aspect. I could. Yes.
Okay. Is there anything coming up this week that you could apply this learning to?
Well, when I go into the office on Friday and I see her, no, I'm sorry. Maybe just in my social interactions at the gym tomorrow and Friday.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Was there anything I could do to support you further, Robin?
No, I'm good. I think I'm good.
Okay. Very cool. Well, thank you, Robin.
Well, thank you.
What was that like?
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, it's so cool. It happens naturally every time. Someone's like, "Oh, yeah." It's so natural how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, when you realize you can't change them. Yeah, it's not your deal. Yes.
Yeah, it was like literally we could see the weight lifting off you, like that weight of that. You were like, "Yeah."
I'm not really the mean girl. No, anyway.
I had one last thought for you, Robin. I don't know, I had the sense like that maybe like you weren't fully embracing like your value, like you were almost like not as confident in it. Like I don't know. I don't know why I had like that little. I didn't want to like put it in because I didn't know what it was or why I was thinking that. But I was curious, like, is there areas in your life that maybe you could even like have your value of integrity come out even more, like in your coaching business, in your life, in other relationships? I don't know. That's just a thought.
I mean, it's something that should be, your values, I think, should be on, sort of forward of mind at all times. Maybe I need to put that a little, maybe it came up as more of a surprise to me the way I said it. I'm not certain.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know about you, but integrity is like, that's honorable, right? And it almost sounded like you were like apologizing for it. I don't know. I don't know.
No, I think I was trying to explain why it bothered me so, why it should matter to me.
Yeah. Very.
I think maybe more of it was a need to explain it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could look differently for other people. That's why I asked you about the process value. But yeah, so that's a good example of like, there's something there. I want to talk about it more, but I'm not sure what it is. So I'm not going to go there as the coach.
Right.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, class, what did you guys think of that exercise? We all thank Robin for her bravery in sharing that. Who agrees with me that I don't think Robin's a mean girl? Anyone have thoughts? Mike?
I've got about 1 million thoughts on this one, but I'm trying to decide to limit it down. I think it's really cool from the standpoint of exploring the landscape of a relationship, and trying to understand what the assumptions are on your part and on the part of the other person. I guess one question is, to what extent, and I think I brought this up before, do we actually share the framework with them versus just using the framework as a mechanism for the conversation? I think sometimes when you share the actual tool, people get caught up in the tool about what am I supposed to write where and what box am I supposed to write it in, when as a coach, we could be actually doing that and just guiding them through the thinking process and probably come out at the same place. So that's one thought. What do you think about that?
I feel like it's so powerful just to have them do like the four squares and not tell them what you're putting in it, but just like, what are you assuming about this person? And just have them write it like as a conversation. I feel like the visual really, really helps. I had so many people that are like, oh, and then even comparing the two and seeing them is really powerful. And the kind of the goal is, Mike, that, yeah, I think if you give them something labeled, I think it can be distracting sometimes. But if it's just the box. But the goal is to be able to create a really rich coaching environment after you've done the exercise. And that doesn't necessarily have a structure. Like Robin and I could go anywhere. We probably could have a conversation about a million other things springboarded off of this if we had time. But I feel like it's so helpful to have a visual. At least in my...
I think if you just write them down, you just scribble them down, even it doesn't have to be in the 4 squares, but they just actually have to physically write the word out.
Yeah, that's
and then draw a line across and then write the next, write the action, your actions, and then just to physically just write it down brings out a little bit more.
Yeah, and I usually, Mike, I don't tell them that we're going to do a positive and negative. So I don't do that, because then sometimes we might start assuming the positive just because like our brains naturally want to, assume positive or think the best.
Yeah. So you're giving them a task, but you're not really explaining the nature of the framework itself.
Right. I mean,
The
Robin
task
knew
being
some
to
of it.
write it down, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Robin knew some of it because I talked about it in class, but I think,
Well, sure, and she's seen it, right? Right.
yeah, but I think that she would have
It's
gotten to the
different
same
when the
place
coach is
regardless. Mhm. But I would just say use your gut, Mike. Like if you're like this person, like it wouldn't work well with them to have the chart. Always have them write down like a keyword. I think the biggest thing is just look at the connections. How is their actions backing up your assumption? Like kind of like helping them visualize it, or just writing in the words, like Robin was saying, can be helpful. But if you feel like they're gonna be the kind of person that gets too wrapped up in like what to write what where, and then they're not really present with coaching, then have them turn over the piece of paper and be like, okay, let's just talk about this. All right. What are their thoughts? Anyone else? Are we ready to go try this? Okay. So since we have an odd number, what I'm going to do, Robin, is I'm going to put you in a group of 3, and then I'll pull you back to the main room, and you can coach me. How's that? Okay. All right. So everyone bring a relationship. Like Robin even used something in the past. Robin, is it okay with you to be in a group of 3?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.